Real challenge, this live stream. A bit different. Like the title says, I'm stuck in depression and I'm alone and I'm wallowing to myself. What it is with me, with my specific depression to the world, I'm not sure what I was going to say. I stopped myself and then my brain froze. But in essence, it's really strange because I'm experiencing the emotions, the emotions of turmoil, and I'm alone, and I've never really grown up, so I still cry like a big girl. And what it is, because I'm in physical pain, and the physical pain, that's my main problem. And so it can keep me, constantly having to readjust myself throughout the day. And every so often I'll get annoyed. Well, because I can't breathe properly and all the oxygen's going and flooding my brain. So I'm very emotional at the moment. But it's also a period of change, accepting the depression and appeasing the depression and trying to live around the depression. Whereas now life has said to me, look, Andreas, you got to get up and you got to get, and I'm doing that, and it's positive change. And a lot of the aspects of depression that are real, they're truthful, I have to withdraw the comfort from the depression. And I'm removing all of those little comforts that I had in my life, because that's not my life anymore from this change. And sorry, my brain keeps freezing. It's been a really bad day. We were saying the depression was. Why was I describing my depression as a reason? Anyway, I'll continue. Ultimately, I'm experiencing it from a whole new angle. I had depression in my teens. I experienced it on a pure emotional level. I've had it throughout my mental health, and dependent upon what's going on in my mental health, the depression is a very different depression to what I imagine most people go through, and at least what I had in my teens. And on top of that, I'm making a positive stride to really overcome my life predicament and improve my circumstances. And improving my circumstances, I hope to improve others. And that's essentially the essence of this change. And where I'm trying to make that change, I'm coming at depression from the aspect of the mind. Because in my teens, when I had depression, it was always because I don't have this, because I don't have love, because I don't have friends, etc., etc. I was depressed. But throughout, it's because life is hard. And I'm a child walking into that. And you can't really do much around a child without offending a child. You can't swear in front of a child. You can't raise your voice and shout an aggression. You shouldn't really around the child. And that's how I was walking into the hard, challenging times. I was alone. I felt like a child. I didn't really feel like a child, but looking back, I'm in the same mentality I was then as I am now. And that is childlike. I've never grown up. I'm like Peter Pan. I keep getting visions of me flying one day, but, well, I say visions. The endless jigsaw puzzle that is the universe that keeps getting pieced together in my mind in terms. I'm really panicked, and as I said, my head's been hyperventilating from my nose being blocked, and all the mucus passageways. My memory keeps failing me. I don't remember what I was saying that. So let's go back to the main thing, and we'll get back on track. So what I'm doing with my depression now is also, so in my teens, that's what I was saying, in my teens, when I came out of the depression, it was like natural, it was like childlike again. You know, I lived whatever emotion I woke up and felt on the day. Some days I woke up and felt great, some days I woke up and felt like I wanted to kill somebody. And I just got on with my life. And it just sort of happened naturally. My problems went away. I think they just got really, that's what life always does with me. Problems as bad as they can be, so I can see them in absolute, well, you'd say terror, but I can see them. Because it's as bad as it's going to get. There's nothing more I can do, and I can surrender. So it's probably something along those lines. It got me out, but now I'm an adult with that childlike approach to life, but I'm an adult. I'm 36, 35, 36, I can't even remember. I'm an adult. And I see depression, I see what causes my depression, and it's all real. To me, depression is truthful. Not all depressions, not like the depression I had in my teens, but when you're an adult and it hits you, you know, this is a realization. It's the first time I'm thinking and saying it and realizing that when it hits you as an adult, it's because life has come around you and you're responsible for yourself now. And that depression really is truth. Well, what can you take away from a 50-year-old man that gets depressed because of his life? He's a child that's hit 50, basically, and he's having the realization. Could have happened at any time in his life, but it happened when he was 50. He's a child, man. He's alone. He's terrified. He's got responsibilities, and as soon as you get responsibilities and you become an adult, that past that you get as a child withdraws in terms of socializing and communication. And when it hits you as an adult, it's truthful. I can only imagine most of the time it's truthful. Like a true perception of reality. And maybe you haven't done your absolute best in getting yourself out of the depression, but it is what it is. And this time I realise it. I've analysed it, and I see the truth, and I realise the truth, and I realise my life, and I realise I've got to get out. I've got to make the change regardless, because I sat with that. I was like, well, yeah, I'm depressed. I'm not really down. Like, well, life is killing me. And the world is crushing me, and that's causing a depression. But it's the situation. I just get on. I can't do anything about that. So I guess any feeling sorry for myself, at least with regards to the outside world, not my life, there was no need to get emotional. There was no need to feel sorry for myself. There was no need to pull myself down. So on an emotional level, it's not as bad. But in terms of life, breathing to life, it's unimaginably bad. But remembering back to when I was depressed in my teens, on an emotional level, it was the same thing as well. So I guess it's depression experienced in different ways, like without the understanding of it, what was going on in my teens. It was experienced emotionally. Now it's experienced in terms of fatigue, physically, mentally, and I've got a mental health disorder to begin with, and a little bit emotionally as a result of all those. But by the time you get there and the first one's fatigue, there's no real emotion to feel and absorb. You're just like numb and beaten. But it's truthful. And I realise I've got to get myself out because of those symptoms, because of those effects. If I carry on, I won't be around much longer. I need to be active, and my body's failing me to that extent. So I've made the decision, and I'm looking and having to imagine a life beyond that constrictive wall that is reality. So on one level, you have to die to the reality that is. If you can see it, if you're honest with yourself. And to go beyond, you have to die to yourself. You're like, right, well, that was fun. I've hit a wall. Let's remodel. And now I'm thinking about a new life, a new way to live, a new approach to the world. Taking into account everything before, of course, but the commitment I'm having to make to go beyond this depression I'm never going to be beyond it because it's the truth, like we said. But to go beyond it, to be a part of the world still, and stand up as much as I can for being human, for us, for anything. So I'm seeing depression within it, and I've got to get myself out. And I know that's the situation. And I think because I've accepted that, it's become a little bit easier, and I'm hitting more of the emotions, maybe. And it's just the weirdest place to be, because I know in the moment I shouldn't be depressed, but I'm like, it's real. I'm depressed. So I think I've just got to know in the back of my mind that I'm committed to this. That the next, God knows, 4 months, 5 months minimum are going to be sticky. They're going to be getting my hands dirty with this stuff, experiencing all those emotions that were coming out of me today. And this is just the start. I think what I've got to do is in the back of my mind, remember that this is a long process. Remember looking for new life beyond. But that's not likely to come overnight, or in the next 2 weeks, or the next month. It's going to be a slow process to get into myself to that place. Because I've made the commitment, and I've just got to know what amount of energy I've prepared to put into that commitment. So in other words, right, are we talking about slipping on a banana and getting up again, banana skin and getting up again? Or are we talking about getting knocked out by Mike Tyson and then getting up again? What sort of energy am I going to commit to this project, this idea of a new life? And I guess that's what's been coming to me over the past few weeks. I made the decision initially, and I didn't think about that. But if I'm honest now, the situation again, like, as I said, my life is very pressured because my physical health occupies the best part of my day, to be able to think or do anything at the moment. So I'm thinking aloud on these live streams, trying to recalibrate my life. And I'm saying it now, that on reflection of the past 2 weeks probably since I've made this decision, the extent of how hard it's going to be, slowly, I just knew I'd got to go this way, and that's the decision I made. And I started going that way, and I've fallen over pretty much every day. But it's a learning lesson, because I analyse it and I say, okay, today was this. Does that fit in to the past? Does that fit in to the plan? And then you analyse where you were, where I was, where I am now, and what's needed. And what's needed is a massive change. And I'm like all the time, no, I'm way off. This isn't anywhere near as close as I need to be to getting myself to a place so again. Is getting myself anywhere near to a place where I'm even remotely close to the amount of energy I'll need to achieve that task. And for that reason, I just have to shut up. I just have to suck it up. I just have to experience it and say, well, I didn't realize it was going to be this hard from the off. And it is. But I'm committed. And I'm way off the amount of energy that I thought I needed to commit. And for that reason, I'm slowly experiencing all of these situations, and it's getting harder. The situation, and each time it's getting more painful on an emotional level, at least. And I haven't done emotions for years. My life, it's like I said I maxed out emotions in terms of my experience. So it's getting harder, and in the back of my mind, that at least today, that wasn't always there. That was like, you've committed to change. You know the reasons that you've committed to change. There's nothing to think about. And I just suffer it. But it really did beat me numb by the time I came in shortly before this live stream began. And I was too numb to tune into anything, feel anything. And I guess, the live stream, I'm very grateful that I have this ability to pick up a piece of technology and do use. And I appreciate that that's communication. And it just activates a certain part of my brain that I don't have access to on a day-to-day. And I'm able to recall my situation. It's just, it's condition at present and for the past couple of years. I'm observing myself and how I use the live stream. Still beneficial. That's why I make a fool of myself so much. So I think I've just calmed myself down, that I know what the situation is. I know how serious the situation is in terms of me and everything I am to life. And I know the commitment I've made, and it's a constant work and it's a constant reference to how can I put it, to really contain this ship that I'm on, moving in that direction. And as the weeks go on and things get harder, they'll also become more focused and hopefully easier. But that's the hope. We'll see how things go. Maybe it's the intoxicated brain from not being able to breathe properly. But I guess I feel better from this live stream. Enjoy the rest.